3.79%. And if R is to be taken seriously, which may not be, but then implied growth rate that justifies the current price is 6.5% minus 271. So if I'm to discount future cash flows from Coke and Pepsi at the same rate, this shows that pretty much assuming they're going to grow at the same rate in the future, Pepsi is undervalued relative to Coca-Cola. It kind of allows us to do that sort of analysis. But applying this to other kind of cases is not going to be that easy. For example, do you know the dividend yield for NVIDIA right now? It's ridiculously low. And they have increased it over the last 2 years. 0.02%. They pay 4 cents a share per year or 1 cent per share per quarter in dividends. I don't know why they even bother paying any, but they do. Two problems. I'm going to kind of talk about this and leave the solution to the next lecture. Even if we can live with the assumption that dividends are going to grow at a constant rate, that rate has to be less than the discount rate. The trouble is, if you look at NVIDIA right now, in terms not dividends, but in terms of earnings, they have grown crazy. Okay, even over the next 5 years, their expected growth rates. Let's see what the PEG ratio for NVIDIA is. One, their forward PE is 29.94. Even if PEG is calculated using forward PE, that means over the next 5 years, analysts expect NVIDIA earnings to grow at least 30% a year. That's a very high number. Even though NVIDIA is riskier, the discount rate that we're going to use for NVIDIA is not going to be that high. So that'll roughly tell you if Coke is 6.5%, for NVIDIA, that would be about 16%. Okay, which is a pretty high number, but the damn thing is growing very fast. So what we're going to do for that is we're going to kind of divide NVIDIA into two synthetic corporations. Okay, this is called the general case. It's called two-stage growth model. The idea is forecast dividends for a small number of years, say t equals 3, because typically that is not too much of a challenging future. After that, assume a constant rate. It's kind of a simplistic version. Sometimes when I use something like this, I forecast something like that uh, for 3 years. Then I allow a transition period to a constant rate. If right now they're growing, expected to grow 30% a year, they're not going to go down to 5% the very next year. There's going to be a transition, which means you could project a few more years. If we do that, I'm just going to set up the problem, but we'll solve it next time. I'm going to divide, let's say this is NVIDIA. Or let's make this Coke. So there's a early Coke, and I'm going to call this delayed Coke. Let's erase these. I'm going to issue two securities. So if you have one share of NVIDIA, I'm going to take that from you. In return, I'm going to give you one share of, or not NVIDIA, Coke, one share of early Coke. And that early Coke gives you the right to dividends the first 3 years. You get whatever the dividends are going to be in the first 3 years. After that, you get nada, nichable, صفر. I can say zero in a lot of languages. But the second one gets you all dividends the first 3 years and nada after that. And there's a delayed Coke. You get nichevo, which means zero in Russian, for 3 years. After that, you get all the dividends. Oh, well, by laws of nature, one share of Coke has to have exactly the same value as one share of early Coke and one share of delayed Coke. Why? If you put them together, they give you if you own both of them, you get exactly the same cash flows that you would have gotten by owning one share of Coke. So if you have ways to calculate the value for early Coke and delayed Coke, all I have to do is add them up. Well, early Coke is easy. I know exactly what I'm going to get for 3 years. I'm going to calculate their present values, add them up. That's easy. After that, I'm going to basically assume a constant growth rate, assuming by then that constant growth rate is going to be something below that discount rate. And all I have to do is put them back together. The only difference is whatever that values, I'm going to get that value 3 years from now, which means I need to discount that 3 more years. But it's relatively easy to do. Then you can handle companies with fast expected growth spurts in the short run, but after that, they come back to earth. I mean, when Google first started, they were growing 100%, 200% in earnings, but they're now back to earth. Okay? And we can check what Google is doing right now, but hey, you can check. On Monday, we're going to actually build a template That's going to have all of these cases as special cases. The case 0, constant dividend growth, two-stage growth. Sometimes a company could start with 0 dividends, but they're going to start paying dividends later. We can handle all of those too, and we can build exercises. The dividend growth model in and of itself, for most companies, is not a good way to value them, but it's going to kind of help us with some of the better models we're going to use later. Okay, because those will have similar structures as well. Remember, the exam is on Wednesday. Please come in time because there's time between 2 classes. But either way, you will get only 80 minutes because my Tuesday, Thursday class has almost no time between the next class. So I have to give them only 80 minutes. So will you. You'll get 20 questions. 12 of them will be non-numerical nature, which means you don't have to make calculations. And 8 of them will be numerical. And as I've shown you before, you get the choice between different exam types. And those of you who are my advisees and want to talk to me, get the rack numbers, you can. Or get an appointment later. I was going to give it to you guys, but they told me I have to interview you.